Good morning, friends. This is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope you had a restful evening, and I hope you have a beautiful day planned for you. Today it's Sunday, and I woke up trying to think, what is it that I want to talk about? Because I try to come on first thing on Sunday morning, sharing a little bit about my faith, but more of a reflection of my week. But today I woke up late. Late is relative in the sense that I try to get up at 6 so I can get the chickens out of their coop so they can run around and go crazy, and that's exactly what they do when I open the doors for them to leave the coop. And I felt bad. So not bad where I was like sad. I just like, oh, I got to get out there. So I got up, went to the door, opened the door, and I was greeted with 60-degree weather. And I love 60-degree weather in the wintertime. And in the summertime, when we're so used to the high 70s, high 80s, sometimes 90s, 60's a little cool. So I went right back and I changed. I was in shorts and a tank top, and I went back, put some pants and a shirt on, a long sleeve shirt, because it was too cold for me to go out there and then deal with the chickens all excited to see me and jumping on my legs and stuff. So I went out there and took care of them. But I want to talk about the subject of, are you thankful? And the reason I'm saying that is I could have been discouraged about sleeping in and not getting up on time. I'm not upset about that. Okay, they're not a job that pays me, but it's still a responsibility that I'm accountable for. Sometimes when David's home, he knows that I'm really tired and he'll let me sleep in. And so he'll do that chore. But those mornings when I wake up late, I'm grateful that he took care of that, because he understands the fatigue that I deal with. So I wanted to talk about thankfulness. There is so much in our world that can discourage us, more so after the last couple of years, but people are getting over that, yet people are still in their state of complaining about a lot of things. So I want to take a break and ask you to take a break from looking at the negative. Take a moment to ask yourself, what is good in my life? In your life? And so in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 through 18, it says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. But you know, it's not just for those of us who are Christians, but for everybody. I think if we all stop and take a moment and are thankful, then maybe we could see the world differently. So I want to go over some things that relate more to my life, okay? Not in a negative way, but some of these things might pertain to you as well. Waking up at 7 in the morning in the summer is late for me. But I'm thankful that I got the rest. I got a full night's rest. I'm thankful. But what about the nights that I don't get rest, that I'm up every 2 hours, whether it's because of pain, whether it's because I have to use the bathroom? Am I thankful? Usually I'm grumpy, but I am thankful, because when I reflect about it, it's like my brain is working, meaning it knows to get up to go to the bathroom. My brain knows that I'm in pain, so I can do something about it. So even though those are discomforts in my life, they are things that are allowing me to be thankful that my brain is functioning. The brain that God gave me is working, because I can work around that. And today I did wake up with a lot of pain. I looked at 7 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I got up. My back is in excruciating pain, and my feet, I've been having pain, and I've been putting ointment on it and stuff, so I have to stay on that. Make sure that I take a little extra turmeric today. And it's hard to walk on my feet. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. And I'm not on here to complain about that. I'm here to say I'm thankful that I know what to do about the pain. May not enjoy it, but I know what to do. And I'm thankful that I got out of bed. I didn't just moan and groan and say, forget the chickens. I got up and took responsibility. You know, I do a lot of blaming myself. And a lot of us do that. I blame myself for the pain. What did I do to cause this? Some of my health concerns, I kind of like blame myself. And it's not my fault. Maybe I overdo. Okay, my pain, I have a tendency, more so when David's not around, to go and pick up things that are too heavy for me. He does the same thing. As we get older, we need to stop and reflect that we need to help one another. We need to ask for help. It's hard to do that because a lot of times people are not there for us. But I can ask for help. And I've learned over the last couple of years that to ask myself, is it important to do that now, or is it something I can wait for David when he gets home? And more I'm doing that. But still, that person, that 26-year-old that still lives within me, is like, I can do this. I don't need anybody's help. I'm independent. All of that is true to a degree. So I am thankful that I have a partner that is willing to help me. I'm thankful that he understands my pain. He sees my tears. He understands. He is now able to see. He's been able to learn to watch my body language. Not in everything, but he watches my body language and knows she's struggling. And he will just kind of like, what can I do to help? And sometimes when I'm in so much pain, I say, just leave me alone. And then I realize he's only asking because he cares. Do you have somebody in your life that cares? If you don't have somebody who's in your home that cares, do you have people around you that care, that you can call and ask for help? I realize that a lot of people will say they're there for you, but are they really? And that's the thing that you have to be thankful for, are the ones that are there to help you. Are you thankful for the roof over your head? I don't have my dream house. I don't have the home that we had planned. The house that we have, we got in an effort to have room for our children to start. We were in a duplex, and it's like, let's just get a home that we can start, and then we can grow and then move to a bigger home. We never did that. We did look at houses at some time, at a few different stages while we were here. And we sit back and we kind of like kick ourselves and say, why didn't we do that? Because there were some homes that would have been great for the homestead that we want. More rooms, a barn, some of those things that we still desire. But we didn't take that effort. Am I thankful that we didn't? Truthfully, yes, and truthfully, no. I regret not taking the plunge to just do it. And we could have. We were qualified, and houses were far cheaper than what they are today. But what I am thankful about is we have a roof over our head. Our home is solid. We have warmth. When I got up and it was 60 degrees outside, inside my home, it was 80 degrees. A little warm for me. We had fans going because we don't use the air conditioner unless it's absolutely essential. But we had fans moving the air, so it makes 80 degrees tolerable. So I'm thankful for my home because it's a place of warmth. It's a place of shelter. And it's a place of comfort. We've worked on it, so it's comfortable. Little claustrophobic for me, and that's why I love my outdoors. It's an extension of my home. So I try to spend as much time outside as I can. So are you thankful for your living conditions? If not, what can you do to make it something joyful? Change the curtains. Will that make you happy? Take a day and just do a spring clean. I do that about once a month, where it's like, I need to be refreshed, move things, take care of things, throw things away. My biggest joy is taking the bills, the old bills, and composting them. Yes, I do that because, even though I could throw them into the recycling bin, I just tear them up and I throw them in the compost bin and throw stuff on it. And you know what? They do compost. So I take great pleasure in doing that. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I said, no, I don't have to think about this bill. I try to hang on to my basic bills for about a year, and I keep important documents, for 7 to 10 years, whatever. And then I go through those files and clean them up. So sometimes I do that for therapy. So I'm thankful that I have the ability to do that. What other things am I thankful for? I'm thankful that when my husband comes home from work, even if he's tired, he has a smile on his face, and I get a hug, I get a kiss, and I get time with him. He works long shifts, so I don't see him for very long, but I am thankful for that 1 to 2 hours that I get with him. Do you have somebody in your life that you're thankful for when they get home, that they're happy to see you? Maybe it's work. Are your coworkers happy to see you? My grandkids, I'm really excited when they decide that they want to talk to Grammy or Grandpa, because even though we might not see them in person, there's always FaceTime. And you get to interact with them and talk to them, ask them how things are going. They're still young, so sometimes their attention isn't still there. But I get to talk to my daughter as well. Now, we don't see our girls as often as we might like, but I think it's sufficient for my husband and I. We get to see them often enough, and we communicate often enough. Sometimes it's once a month, sometimes it's more. But you know what? They're adults. And what brings me joy is that they have lives that are fulfilling for them. I'm here to just be that mom. I am really grateful to have that title of being a mom, to be able to cheer them on, give them advice when they ask for it. The one lesson I've learned is don't give advice unless they ask for it. It's not just with your kids, it's with other people. So as I get older, I'm trying to be more silent, share what I can. But when somebody smiles, like a grandchild or your children when they see you because they haven't seen you for a while, that's joy. That's joy. And yeah, our girls are grown, and I miss them. But I appreciate the women that they have become and the lives that they're leading. In a little bit, we're going to be able to see all 3 girls together. Do you know how happy I am about that? I'm exhausted. And when I found out when it was going to happen, I'm like, but I'm so tired. Because we've been working on a few things, and I get exhausted by the end of the day. Now, another thing that I'm thankful for is I'm thankful for my garden. No, it's not big like other people have, like people who have homesteads that have huge gardens. But I'm going to share something that just because some people have homesteads and they have a lot of produce that they can bring in, that they can sell, that they can do things. Do you know a lot of homesteads are struggling right now? They're thankful for what they have, but they're struggling because some of the people I know are out west where the heat is ruining their crops, ruining them. We have excess rain destroying properties. So some of these farmsteads who have animals, cows and so forth, they're having to make decisions on how do I keep my animals hydrated and fed. They may have to sell or consume their livestock in order to not just lose them. Those are hard decisions. I believe they're thankful they have options, but they're hurting. And so I keep them in prayer. And I'm thankful that I have these connections so that I can pray for them. There's nothing I can do. I don't have a dime in the world to be able to take them out of their misery. And even if I did, I'm not God. I can't produce the rain they need. I'm not God where I can change the weather format for them. But I am a child of God that I can pray. That's all I can do. Money won't solve their issue. God can help them. But why is all this happening? There's a lot of speculation out there. We can say that there's a political agenda. I don't understand it. There's some things that I do know that I don't desire to share on my channel, because what I desire to share is God honoring and respectful to others. Now, some other things. Okay, so I have some vegetables coming in. Yesterday I made some cucumber water. It's great. My husband came home and he tried it. He goes, "Oh, this isn't so bad." He goes, "But I'm not sure if I would want just the herbs. Could you do something different?" And he hadn't seen my video yet. So I said, "We could put some of those frozen raspberries in here and I think you would like it better." He's all excited because he's going to get a raspberry drink from fresh raspberries. I have a feeling I need to go stock up on raspberries for the winter months. I would rather have him have something natural than the sugars and stuff. And I do buy him some electrolyte drinks and stuff, and I try to be very careful about what types of drinks, because I think we need to be careful of our sugar intake. Now, another thing that I'm thankful for is not just my gardens. I have herbs in my garden, but I don't have everything that I want to grow. I added like 3 or 4 more new herbs that it's exciting. So, and even though my stevia did not come up this year, I grew enough last year, and I keep it stored properly in a cool, dark place, so it keeps its dark green color. So that I'm thankful for. I don't need to buy it, but I am going to try to grow it again next year. I'm actually starting now to see if I can get some growing to keep it going during the winter months as a small plant inside. So that leads me to be able to say I'm thankful for my willingness to learn about herbology, about nutrition, and health issues. As things come along, I have a ton of books, so I don't depend just on the internet. The internet is easy because it's a quick, where is it? But you have to be really careful about what you're reading. Don't go to the first internet place you go to. You know, when you go on Dr. Google is what I call it when you're looking for health issues, to how do I fix this? But I'm thankful that I have the ambition and the desire to know how can I help myself. It's not just in herbs, it's also in my foods. How can these foods help me other than sustenance, for food on the kitchen table, for dinner, for breakfast? What else do these foods do? So the more I learn, the more I can share. The more I learn, the better I can make our aging process so much more enjoyable. How long will we live? I have no idea. And with the world being upside down and topsy-turvy, sorry, there's some hummingbirds that are flying around. Those are amazing. One of my favorite birds. I do love cardinals, but the hummingbirds, the way they flip and flip, I wish I could move like that. I used to, but they just bring such joy. And so, and you'll see wildlife around me, and that's part of the reason I like being out here, because I hear the birds. I hear the nature. I hear the chipmunks stealing food from different places. But as I was talking about with the food, it allows me, and these are things, a lot of things that I'm learning more in depth about, like the cucumbers, learning more about. I know cucumbers, I've always known that cucumbers had vitamins, and I knew it had a lot of water. So those are good things, and I knew that they tasted good. But as I did a little bit more research to share about what I drink, more so in the summer months, the cucumber water, I had to share a little bit more about the nutrients, because that's me. But the benefit of the cucumber water, when I learned that it had a great amount of vitamin K, it doesn't have vitamin D, but you get out in the sunshine, which is your natural source of vitamin D, you add this vitamin K drink, so you're outside in the sun working, or you're out enjoying the sun. I like to absorb the sun at least a half an hour a day. No, not with sunblock, because sunblock prevents your skin from absorbing the actual vitamin D your body needs. So I'll get out there with a tank top and shorts, or just go out there and enjoy the sun, allow my eyes to absorb the vitamin D. But having more than just water, having cucumber water, that vitamin K in the cucumber water is a benefit for your body. So why did I bring this up on a video that's talking about thankfulness? I'm thankful that I discovered the amount of vitamin K that is in cucumbers. And I do need to stop to take a drink, and I still have some. I actually removed the cucumber so I can just enjoy the water and have it in the refrigerator at this point. But I have cucumbers in there. I can make one batch of pickles. But I'm not going to do that. I'm getting little tiny cucumbers. This is not much. But I had some from the farmer's market. I didn't buy a lot at that time. But now that my husband has tried this, and he says, Laura, I really like this, I have to figure out, how can I preserve these cucumbers so that I can have them throughout the year? Because all of us know the produce coming in is not the greatest. And if our farmers out west are having trouble with their gardens, we hear a lot about food shortages. This will be part of the reason that we will have food shortages. So how will I get my cucumbers throughout the year? I will probably dehydrate some cucumbers and rehydrate them in my water. I'm going to experiment with that and see if that is an option. So I'm thankful that my brain is still in full tack. I may have brain fog from time to time. I'm not very thankful for that. But because my brain can function and can learn, I'm thankful for that. And I am thankful for those of you who understand brain fog. Forgive me as I try to figure out my words from time to time. And that's why I have to have my notes with me, so I don't forget. I'm thankful for my health issues. I'm thankful for my husband's health issues, and my kids, and my grandkids. Not happy about them, more so when they occur. So why am I thankful? Because those health issues are what open my mind to what's out there. Yes, we need our physicians. They help us. They provide insight and knowledge. They also provide medicine for those who need it. Now, I was not thrilled at all that my husband needed to get the countdown steroid for his asthma. He was having horrible allergy issues. I wasn't thrilled about it. But what I was happy about is we had a doctor he could go to who could prescribe that for him, because our physicians are here to help us for moments like that. The other thing I'm thankful for, because when I put that tea together, he was so desperate the night before. He was hurting. Oh, in addition, the doctor gave him a new inhaler. So those things, that's the part of healthcare that we should be thankful for, because they have emergency remedies for you. They have long-term remedies as well for those who need it. So when I went down the benefits of those ingredients that are in my husband's tea, and I didn't go through it until a couple days later, because he drank that tea and he saw relief. Do you know he takes a thermos of this tea to work every day now, because it helps soothe his throat, and it's actually helping him. He came home, he goes, "I'm so glad you made this." I said, "But you're not having symptoms while you're drinking it." Because typically, once my husband is done and he's feeling great, everything goes aside. I get that. I'm on an antibiotic for an infection, and it took 4 days for me to start feeling better. I still had symptoms. So the next few days, because I'm feeling better, I took the first one, I took the second one, and by nighttime, I'm so exhausted. I wake up realizing I didn't take that third one. But I'm going to complete. Yesterday was the last day, but I had 2 left. So I am going to finish it, because I really don't want the infection back. So doctors are here for us to help us. And the pharmacies, the medications are there to help us as well. I think they're there to help us for a time, not long term to depend on. But people might need that long term, so I don't sit in judgment. But I am thankful that my husband asked more questions. This is out of character for him, because he knows that I have herbal remedies, because he's always coming to me, "What do you got for this?" Because he doesn't want to go to the pharmacy. And by the time he asks me, it's kind of like, you should have asked when the symptoms started. Yeah, that's who I am. It's just the way it is. But so now he has his tea, and he plans on drinking it because he has allergies all year round. So I'm grateful that he asked questions. I'm not grateful how annoying he can be when he just kind of poo-poos everything. But what I've learned and what I'm grateful for is that it's like, okay, he's not interested, and I walk away. I don't push it. I stopped pushing things on my girls too. You know why? Because it's their life. Now, I'm more concerned about my husband because I want him around. So I don't want his allergies to make him sick. He was getting really sick, where I was afraid pneumonia was starting to settle in. But I'm grateful when I say, call Dr. So-and-so. That's not his name. That's Dr. So-and-so is appropriate for YouTube videos. He didn't want to. But he did, and they had the appointment. So I'm grateful for that. I'm thankful. So I am thankful for those health issues that I've had to deal with. Do you know what it's taught me? It's taught me compassion for others. It's taught me more patience for myself. Meaning, okay, it took me longer to get out of bed than it did when I was 26. Now, I'm going to be 62, and so it's like, I just want to flip those numbers and be 26 again. It's not happening. But you know, being thankful that I remember my 26-year-old self, that's a good thing. Being 62 and desiring that, meaning I'm working at trying my best. I take a lot of turmeric, No, I don't take it all day long. I take a couple in the morning, and if I need it, like for the next few nights, I'm going to have to take it at night because my body is in pain. And maybe I won't wake up in pain because I used to take it twice in the morning, 2 in the morning and 2 at night. It's not going to hurt me to take the 2 at night that I haven't been taking. It's an herb. It's just something that I make, and it's not costly to make. It's costly to purchase over the counter, but not costly to make, but it's time consuming. You know what else I'm thankful for? I said something to somebody on their Facebook page. She had a jumper, and I said, "Oh, that's just darling. It's really adorable." And she's about my age, and I said, "It just looks so comfortable." And she says, "It is." And I said, "I think I need to make one." And she thought, "You can do that too?" And I shared with her some of the things that I have made. I've made wedding gowns for my kids. I've made gowns, formal gowns. I've made things for my husband's. I've repurposed things from what I have. And she goes, "Oh my goodness, you are a talent of all sorts." God has been amazing for me. God gave me the skills to sew, to fix, to mend, to repurpose. And I have some things I am just so excited about. I think part of the reason I have to look at my garden, I'm going to be positive about my garden's not producing a lot right now. Sufficient. I have the farmer's market I can go to. And I went someplace and they gifted me with some zucchini and stuff. My zucchini's not coming up. I've shared that. But I'm thankful that when I went there, they say, "Can you use this?" And I said, "Yeah." And so when you visit somebody and they offer you something, ask how you can use it. If they offer you a baseball bat size of zucchini, understand there's more than one zucchini bread in that zucchini. What can you do with that? Ask them. You can freeze it to make zucchini bread later in the year. Right now, with the farmers having difficult times in the West, we need to be thankful for our food, and we need to be thankful how you can preserve it. So I'm thankful. I don't have all the tools that I would love. I don't have all fancy tools, but I have tools to allow me to preserve food. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the vegetables that I am getting, but I'm thankful for my sewing. So I want to get back to that thankfulness because there are some projects that I want to get to. And my kitchen is pretty much, the food that I have in there is food that we will consume throughout the week. So I don't think I'm going to do much. There's a few things that I'm going to make, but most of the items that I've dehydrated are finishing and they're done. And so I want to work on some other things, and it's working with my sewing machine. And I will share more in detail. So I'm thankful that I have a sewing machine. I'm thankful, as painful as these are right now, they're in a lot of pain. I'm thankful that I can still hand sew. I can crochet. I'm thankful that every stitch I make gives me an opportunity to pray for somebody else. God gave me a gift to sew, and I've used it for many, many years for others and my family and for myself. And when my friends said that to me, I stopped and I thought, yeah, I am gifted. This isn't bragging rights. This is, God has blessed me with that skill. And in the back of my mind, it's like, oh, I got to get to this, got to get to this. But just the fact, the little bit of conversation I had with her was, yeah, I have been gifted and I am thankful. And it was like a kick in the butt to say, those things you have on the back burner? Get them out and start working on it. I have another sewing friend who's doing the same thing. It's kind of like we are living in parallel universes. It's a girl I went to high school with. And she's different than me, but she's focused on nutrition and herbs. She's focused on sewing as well. We're both gifted, and we use those gifts very differently. And, you know, it's kind of like interesting to watch. Now, we're not close friends. We're friends. But it's just kind of interesting to see the parallel of our lives. It's really kind of cool. And she's doing a lot of things that I'm doing, and it's just kind of like timing in our lives are just kind of those things that are encouraging to one another. You don't do things out of jealousy. You do things out of inspiration. Are you thankful for what you have? For those of you who are able to go on vacation, are you grateful for that? Are you thankful for that? The ability to do that? Do you have any regrets? Now, would I like to go on vacation? I'm not a big vacation person. What I want to do is escape, and I guess that is vacation. What I desire is to escape for a few days in a cabin or a B&B, you know, like an Airbnb, a cottage away on the ocean, but not the crowds. Now, I'm a very social person, and you might not see that in my videos. People might not see it when I'm in crowds because I get very claustrophobic. But I like socializing. I like people. I just don't like huge crowds. And I've done speaking in public in front of big crowds. And I'm okay with that. It's because I'm not hovered around behind me. I used to be afraid. But my speech class in college, I will never forget it because it taught me loads of things that make it easier to speak in public. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was like nervous. It was really like, okay, this isn't going to work out. And plus, I'm soft-spoken, so my voice doesn't come through on my video. So hopefully today's will be fine. And sometimes I hear them and it's like, sounds like I'm yelling. But I have to adjust different things in order for my videos to come through. So I'm thankful for these gifts. They're truly gifts. And I'm thankful that I listen to what people say. Listening is a gift. It's a gift for when people are struggling because you can sit back and hear their words. Sometimes doctors will share things with me, and I'll go back and I'll ask them, how's this going? And they're like, oh yeah, I shared that with you, didn't I? Because when they talk to us, they have conversations because a good doctor will incorporate some of their own personal experiences to make you realize that you're human, that you're not alone, that they understand. That's kind of their job. And when a doctor can do that, you realize that they don't live on a pedestal. They live doing a skill that they were gifted with. So are you thankful for your doctors that appreciate you? I'm not talking about the doctors that just want to make more money. I'm talking about the doctors that incorporate your health to better you. Are you thankful? What about the nurses that work with them? Are you thankful for them? Are you thankful for the managers? Are you thankful for the team that works for them? I generally am. Some of them, there are some office managers that are great, and some of them just like, I don't have the patience to deal with them because they talk to you like you don't matter. And that's something that is very painful. But you know what? Those in healthcare are going through a lot of stuff. But this kind of stuff has been going on long before the world went nuts. What I'm thankful for with these individuals, even outside of healthcare, the ones that think they're better than me, I'm thankful that they are better than me because I don't have to live their life of always having to be better than somebody else. I'm thankful that I care enough. I care about them that I do pray for them. It's sometimes hard because you're frustrated with how you got treated, but I'm thankful that I can sit back and say, okay, God, what can I do about this? I can speak up. Being an advocate for yourself, whether it's in healthcare or the market when you get a product, like you get a gallon of milk and it went bad before the expiration date. Being able to have the ability to speak up with kindness, it helps. I had to make a call to a fuel vendor. And I said, it took 20, 30 minutes for you to pick up the phone. She started yelling at me. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I wasn't criticizing you. I said, I'm concerned because it makes it really difficult for us as consumers to get through. And all the advertisement you have on there is go to the computer and sign on there. And I said, sometimes we need to talk to an individual. So she says, I'm sorry. She goes, we just have loads of people waiting to be heard, and it's just, our day is full of people yelling at us. That's why it's really important to be kind, not just on the service provider, whether you are a customer service, whether you're a cashier, whether you're a nurse, office manager, whatever. And then as a consumer of any of these services, we have to always be mindful to realize that we don't know what's going on the other side. So before you pick up the phone, before you do any of this, be thankful for what they're doing. If you treat them bad, apologize. You know what? To say you're sorry, I'm really sorry I treated you that way. Wow. That was less than 3 seconds. Doesn't hurt. It might churn your stomach a little bit to say, I don't know, you feel bad. But the more practice you get and the response you get from the other side, because when I talked to that customer service person, when I said, I'm not calling to harass you, I'm just letting you know it took a long time to get through. You could hear the relief in her voice. And that's what we need to do. Things are tough. And if the food situation is bad on the West Coast, where we get a lot of our food, just think of how bad it's going to get. People are going to be cranky. People are not going to have food. Both you and I will not have the food that we are accustomed to having. Now, I made, I may have some, like that strawberry and raspberry sauces I made. I had a little yesterday. I just made a few jars. And I'm like, oh, I want to make more because it's so good. But you can't keep it on your shelves forever. I only made a few jars. And I did it because I was having some yogurt, some Greek yogurt, which is plain. There's no sugar, there's nothing. I had that and it's like, well, I know what's in my strawberry sauce, which I made to put on dairy-free frozen dessert or ice cream, or even if I make a dessert like a biscuit type dessert to have over it. And I was just like, it gave it sweetness. But we may not have with us food that you're accustomed to. So start working on being thankful for what you do have, for those who are in services that are providing you services. So I'm thankful for my physicians that care. I'm thankful for my knowledge in what I do know of healthcare in terms of my own conditions. I never try to make myself sound better than them, But I am an advocate for myself to say, this is what I know. And when I learn something else, that, hey, could this work? I use their knowledge to help me make a determination. Sometimes they say it might, and it helps certain people. And they might say it might not help your condition. So, and I do need to make a phone call to my Lyme specialist because I'm dealing with a lot of Lyme issues, and I don't want to call him because I know what he'll treat me with. But I need to reach out to him, have a consult with him, and I have another specialist that I do this with. But that's what the doctors are for, because by the time they're done, they've encouraged you and they taught you some things. Are you thankful for your police and your firefighters? You know, when we lost our shed that you see in the background, that's been replaced 11 years ago. That went up in flames. Lost everything. I used to store my canning jars out there. For those who know that I love to preserve food, I cannot tell you, my heart broke. My kids were older, so all their baby things, all their memories that they wanted to save, gone. I saw tears. I had tears. Books that they used to read as young children, gone. That day, the firefighters looked around our yard and they said, I can't believe your yard didn't go up. We have trees. And he goes, this is the most beautiful yard we've seen because we have trees and we have shrubs and we have lilacs. As you can see, there's trees right there. Those are lilac trees. These are lilac trees here, and we got lilac trees on the other side. You see the water barrel? Behind that are like 3 lilac trees. They all kind of cover our shed. And we also, at that time, had trees lining up. We've since taken them down. They said, your trees should have gone. Then your garage. He says, I don't know why everything was spared. I said, I do. God's angels allowed just the shed to go. If anybody has lost anything with fire, if you've never have, don't depend on the insurance company, because that was a 2-year nightmare trying to get them to pay for things. And I ended up having to go to a lawyer, and so we settled up. They wanted to give me 30%. I said, no way am I taking 30%. So after talking to the lawyer, after all this stuff, they settled on what was left. They settled on 60-70%, far more than what they were going to do. And I said, no, this is what I still need to purchase. This is what I still need to do. And I mean, as we were cleaning up, we did all the cleanup. As we were cleaning up, you know, it's a lot of work. Your yard is full of soot. Everything is a mess. We had to get a new contractor because David and my father-in-law didn't have the time to rebuild our shed. David built the original one. Our girls were little and they helped. And I miss that shed because having somebody else do this, we had a lot of things that we had to do in addition, because the way David builds, it's tight. Nothing gets in there. And the person who built it, there was a lot of things that he missed. And I was disappointed in that because we gave him the plans. He took pictures, and so I would think twice about hiring somebody again. But we have the basic structures. It's solid, all that. And my husband just went in and tightened things up. I no longer store my canning jars in there, but I'm still buying to replace because, you know, as I can, it's just something that I do. And as I've gotten into herbs and stuff, that was 10 years ago as well. I use my jars for that. So I'm always repurposing jars and so forth. So having a shed that burned, I was thankful because I saw that God's angels got burnt that day because they protected our property, they protected our home. And somebody asked me, "You're a good Christian. Why would God do this to you?" And I looked at her and I said, "God didn't do this to me. Yes, it happened, but look what God did. He gave me angels to protect everything else around me." And she said, "Yeah, but why would God do that to you?" I didn't blame God because God did not do that to me. He allowed it to happen. But circumstances in our lives can cause that. Things that happen in our lives, like even for my Lyme disease, I have no idea why I have it. Never got the rash. I've been sick for years. But that's the other thing I'm thankful for. I have a fabulous doctor. You know, he's going to be retiring soon. And both my husband and I are thankful for him because we both see him for other reasons too. But I'm thankful because he cares about us. When we see him in the street, it's like, "Long lost friend, hi!" Those are the physicians I really love because they're like family friends. And we consider them family friends. So I'm thankful for my illnesses. Don't like them. I don't like my depression when it's bad, but I'm thankful that I still get up and I ask God to guide me. God does that. So I'm thankful for those firefighters. Now about the police. The other night I was up. That was the night I was making, I forgot what I was making. It doesn't matter. But I was up. David was in bed. I'm hearing noises. I said, "Oh goodness, what neighbor is up making a lot of noise?" And it sounded like, mowing and stuff, somebody working with a machine at 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, what's going on? And it kept going and going, and then it kept going. The noise started going around our house. I didn't know what it was. So I looked out and I'm like, it's helicopters. What? It had 3 sets of lights. There was all kinds of stuff going on. And so it went on for an hour. I woke David up and I felt bad because once he's out, he doesn't hear anything. So I said, "David, I don't know what's going on. Could you?" He says, "Just helicopter." He goes, "I don't know." I said, "Well, maybe I should call the police department, see if they know what's going on." He goes, "Oh, don't bother them." He went to bed. I called the police department. I am so grateful for our police department because I said, "I don't know if you're involved with this or if something's going on in our neighborhood. It's been going on for at least an hour. Helicopters going around. Could you give me some insight? I didn't know if it was a political attack coming at us or aliens." No, I'm kidding. I knew something was going on. I didn't know if the military were in town or if they said, "You're safe. Just stay inside. We have a person of interest that we're trying to capture." I said, "Okay." I said, "Thank you for not being upset with my phone call, and thank you for doing the job that you're doing. I appreciate it, and thank you for putting me at ease knowing that you guys are doing your job." So she seemed relieved that I wasn't trying to get more information. You want to know why? Because there's always Patch, which will give us information. There's always their Facebook page that will give us an update. And our local newspaper definitely will because they're down the street from the situation. I wasn't sure what was going on, but what did happen is the person of interest had somebody at gunpoint, things were called in. It was an abusive situation. I can't give all the details, but it did happen in our neck of the woods. And so they were looking for him. That's what the helicopters were for. So staying inside was a smart thing. They did finally capture him, and he was in the backyard in somebody's garden. And I'm like, I wonder if it was mine. I didn't care. I did not have to encounter the individual, because we have a great police department, by the way. We have a fabulous police department. They were doing their job. So I'm grateful. They did do a Facebook page, so I didn't have to worry about anything. So I got the update. I was satisfied with that information. Are you thankful for your police department? They get the bad rap all the time. All the time. Sometimes they're parked across my house, and they're out there just checking for people speeding and stuff. And they park early, before school's out or before school starts. In the summer, they might be out there. They ride their bikes. They're around. We have a good police department. And sometimes I'll be out there talking to them. You know why? Because they have families like you and I. And they care about our community. If you're not happy with your police department, or you're not happy, is it because you've encountered them on the other side of life? You want to know the best thing about a police officer? Or at least in my neck of the woods, my experience is, they want people to live happy and healthy lives. Some of the teens they work with them because they're young. They make mistakes. Sometimes they get brought in, but adults do too. This person of interest, 22 years old. That's all. That's young. Making a serious, multiple mistakes. I'm thankful for the police department that was there to find him. But I'm also thankful that they were doing their job to protect our community. Have you ever thanked your police officer? Delivery service. Do you thank them? How about the curbside pickup people? I love my curbside pickup people for the stores that offer that. Oh. How about your neighbors? I love my neighbors. One's annoying, but yeah, I think he's going through a life crisis. But I have a neighbor who helps me in the winter when David's not home, making sure my driveway is cleared. I have neighbors that, are really wonderful people. They have young children. They're awesome. I have a neighbor on each side, but we also have neighbors throughout that we say hi to when we're walking, have chit-chats. So we have good neighbors. Even though we had this incident in our neck of the woods, it wasn't next door, and even if it was, could I be thankful for it? I would try hard to find a way to be thankful. What about friends? A lot of us don't have many friends. And Dave and I don't have a lot of friends. But we're thankful for the ones we do have. We don't see them much. Some of my friends don't live near me. Some of them they have lives that keep them busy. But I know if I lived in the town that I grew up in, they would be there for me if I called them. I could stop over easily. We don't have much of that here in New Hampshire. It doesn't seem like, and I kind of miss that. But what I desire in a friendship, and do you have this, and I have it with my husband, is to sit back. You can talk about your woes, but I don't like to dwell on those. A friend to me is somebody that you can just sit back, talk about the incident that happened in town, but talk about some other things that are happening in their lives. Not to be jealous, but to be happy for them. That's what friends are. If you have a good friend that you can do that with, be thankful, because many people don't have those kind of friends. We have acquaintances, but do we have close friends? Do you have people that you can call on for help or advice? Do you have that? I like to think I would be that friend, and I have been. And I do know that I've had friends that come and go. Sometimes that's the way it is. And a lot of people say, well, when you have a friend when it could be years and all of a sudden you get it. That's true. Those are long-term friends. But to have a friend other than your spouse is a gift that many don't have. And I'm not, the friend that would be there for you in an emergency, would just sit and laugh about funny things, would work with you in the garden, or you would go work with them, or all this stuff without anything expectation in return. There are a few people that I treasure as friends, but because of their jobs, I can't incorporate them in. This is just part of the way life has turned, that some people have to be careful. And I understand that because in my sewing business, I had to as well. I knew a lot of people, and I learned that sometimes you can't build friendships because the customer is not always your friend. They love you, they appreciate you. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're in or service you're in. That you just have to be careful. Now, this is running longer than I wanted. I just wanted to ask, are you thankful? Are you thankful for the negative things in your life? Can you see the good things? I hate my illnesses. I don't consider myself ill, by the way. I literally dislike the things I have to deal with in terms of my health. I don't like that I have pain. I don't like that I have Lyme symptoms. I don't like that I have some other issues going on. Don't like it. But what I'm thankful for is I get up every morning. I get up with a purpose. Now it's the chickens. No, but I do get up to do something. And I have a to-do list that is longer than I could ever accomplish in one day. But I have it. And when I go to it at the end of the day, I can say, hey, I accomplished that. Sometimes I accomplish 3 of those 20 million things. It's also made me more realistic. Running my business was a benefit because it makes me more realistic about how much time does it take to do a job. I might not understand some jobs, but I sit back and I think, okay, let's take, for instance, an oil change. I've seen my husband do them. We don't have a lift, so it takes him to get into the car. If we use our mechanic, he's fabulous. But he has the lift, he goes in there and he does it, bing, bang, bang, he's done in no time. But you know what, for him to do that, he had to learn about every single car that comes into his garage. My husband only has to know about 2. But he also has to get rid of the oil. Here at home, we have no place to dispose of it unless you pay to have it disposed of. So there's a lot of things that we don't understand the dynamics of another profession. So a lot of times we like them, we embrace them as friends, and yes, our mechanic we consider a good friend. No, we don't do the same activities he enjoys, but we're excited, that he enjoys those. He takes time to go. But what I'm trying to say is, I think knowing how much time some of my doctors have spent with me, how much time it takes my husband to do some jobs, it makes doing my business, when I see YouTubers throwing out a thing that, they do it for 10 minutes on YouTube, you don't see a lot of the details that are behind it. They'll tell you, this takes a minute. A lot of those things don't take 5 minutes. And a lot of people misunderstood my pricing because there's a lot of prep work. There's a lot of conversation. There's all kinds of stuff that go on because my sewing is individual, whereas a mechanic, and he makes more per hour than I do too. He might be experienced in all this, and his equipment is all set up for all of that. He's individual to the vehicle, but it's the same process over and over again with a little adaptation to the different needs of the vehicles. Sewing is not that way unless you do mass production of things. And even then, I don't like mass production. I've been asked to do that. I said, no, there's no joy in it. When I did the masks for everybody, I was so tired. There was a lot of work. And I don't care how fast people were making them. There was a lot of work because there's care that I put into it in terms of making sure I had the right material, sourcing the right material, making sure that fabric was washed properly, rinsed properly, and dried properly, using the right elastic. Procuring stuff takes time. Then ironing, doing everything essential to make sure they were good quality masks. And I know a lot of people think that, their fabric masks are horrible. Not all of them. There are some pretty bad ones out there, and people are paying more for those, or actually the same price I was charging. But I gifted a lot. And you want to know what? As much pain as I was in, as many tears as I shed, because I was concerned about people, I am grateful that I did that. I'm very thankful that I was a part of that. Will I do it again? Probably not. Probably not. But will I care? I will always care. I will not be taken advantage of. That's the hard part, is knowing when to not be taken care of. God has given me the gift of discernment. And I know that when I do for some people, that sometimes I know they're taking advantage of me. Even some of my clients that I had, I knew that. But they were paying for a service. And that's what I gave them. And I still treated them really kind. I didn't want them back, so the next time they called, I said no. That's what you do. But there's a lot of discerning that I see. God has given me the gift to discern what's right, what's wrong, whether people are telling me the truth. And I can see when people are lying to me. You can see it in silence. You can see it in words. You can see it. So I find that to be a gift. Am I mad at the other person? No. Because you know what's happened in our world? People have learned to lie in order to make the other person, to kind of not be uncomfortable, to make others feel okay. There's a way to tell somebody you don't agree with them. You're going to find this interesting. Just say, I really don't agree with you. And this is why. And you have a conversation. That's why friendships are great. Because you can say that to people, even if they're not a friend. I once said, more recently, said to one of my physicians, I said, you know what? There are some things that I don't agree with you on, and you don't agree with me. But I'm grateful that you still want to take care of me. And for that I am. My husband and I don't always agree. For the most part we do. My allergies are bothering me, so please excuse, I'm rubbing my nose a bit. My husband and I don't always agree, and now we've got little gnats. I gotta go in soon. I gotta finish this video. We don't always agree, but we're the best of friends. We would be there. And sometimes when he's doing something I'm really upset about, I might lose my patience. I do lose my patience. That's transparency. But we also have a conversation, and I'll go out and just say, this is what's going on. So I'm asking you today, I'm thankful for my husband because we can have that open relationship. And I think if more marriages took the time to realize that communication is the key in keeping your relationship healthy, even if you regret having married that person. Oh, I don't regret marrying my husband. There are days he drives me nuts. But there's days I drive him nuts, and I know it. I'm not trying to be. So I'm going to close, and I'm going to share with you Colossians chapter 2, verses 6 through 7. So then, just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live your lives in Him, rooted and built up in Him, strengthened in the faith, as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness. Now, even if you didn't make it to the end, I hope you come back midway and finish watching this. Because, there we go, we got the church bells. Even God's telling me time to finish this video. I wanted to share with you that the world's going nuts. Farmers are having a hard time. We're going to encounter some food shortages. Obviously, we're dealing with oil issues. We're dealing with people issues. With all of this, God doesn't promise a world where everything's going to be easy for us. Yet with all of this, can you be thankful for today? Can you be thankful for the people that you are blessed to have in your life? If you haven't heard from somebody in a while, have you written them a note to say, hey, I'm thinking about you? Have you picked up the phone to say, how are you? Is there something that you can be thankful for? There's a few things that I need to get back on. I'm behind on some of my correspondence. So I'm thankful that I take joy in uplifting other people's spirits. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Sometimes I get a response, and it did. But I don't always know. But I share when I'm having times of appreciation, even when I wake up late, even when I wake up in pain, I am thankful for my day. Sometimes I go back to bed, but I'm thankful. Are you thankful for today? I hope so. Here in New Hampshire, the weather is phenomenal. The temperature is up to about 75 degrees now. So it's still cool. But I think I'm going to get out of this warmer shirt. It's a lightweight long sleeve shirt. I think I'm going to get out of it. I got some work to do and put on a tank top or a lighter weight shirt. So I'm really grateful for the breeze, for the wildlife that is in my neck of the woods here in my backyard. I'm thankful that the temp is down because we're only at the end of July. We have hot temps coming in. Sometimes we experience it August through October. I'm thankful for the farmers who are trying. I'm thankful when they don't give up. So be an encouragement to others. Be an encouragement to yourself. And if you deal with depression, understand, I get that. If you deal with anxiety, understand, I get that. To overcome it, have purpose in your day. That's what I do. I find things to keep me going. Some days I don't do so well. But have purpose and have a goal for your day. Well, I'm going to sign off. It's a little over an hour. My apologies for those who can't hang out that long. Know that I love you and I appreciate you following. I ask that if you haven't already, please subscribe, comment, share your own feelings on thankfulness, and share with others. Today's a beautiful day, and I hope that you are thankful for it and enjoy it. Get out in the sun. It's not too hot. I'm excited about that. I'm going to get out in the sun, absorb some vitamin D, drink some more vitamin K from my cucumber water. I'm grateful. and I hope you are as well. Have a beautiful day, and may God bless you abundantly. God bless.